Hello, everyone. Happy Tuesday. Welcome to On a Mission. I'm Emily May. I also have Veda Scott here with me.
Hi.
Who is busy getting ready for a big road trip.
Sorry, I'm like all over the place. I'm very sorry, but I'm here.
But she is here because we are getting ready for Kickstart My Heart in just a few days. We're like 10 days away, and it is so exciting. We have so many debuts happening for Kickstart My Heart. We have returning talent. Thank you all for joining us in the chat. We have some of our Mission Pro fans, our favorites. We have Jimmy, we have Mark's front row, always supporting, always in the chat. We have Tony Justice. Thank you for the shout out. R.A. Davis, Peep, I see, Nation's Corner family. Hello, got to give you a shout out. Brent Ross. Yes, our special guest is Ultra Violette tonight, and so you don't want to miss it, everyone. We want everyone to participate. Put your questions in the chat once she hops on, and it's going to be a really fun conversation because she has her debut match against MJ Santana, and we've seen MJ Santana in various matches here at Mission Pro Wrestling. So it is going to be a very interesting conversation tonight. And just a reminder, tickets are still on sale. The front row for Kickstart My Heart is sold out.
So it's sold sorry.
Out. Sorry, guys. The VIP is sold out, but the VIP second row is still available. So you can go get those tickets at missionprowrestling.com. And remember, if you can't visit us and watch us in San Antonio live, you can watch it on Title Match Network. And that's where, and you can watch it again and again on there as well. Are you ready, Veda? Like
I am so excited for this one.
I know
this is someone that I've wrestled her before. I think she's a really great up and coming talent that doesn't have enough eyes on her, and I kind of feel like that's about to change.
Well, and I want to get your insight because you've wrestled her, so you have an inside track on this. And I think we should just get right into meeting our guest and chatting with her. So I am so excited to welcome Ultra Violette on a Mission.
Hi, guys.
Hi.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, you're welcome. We are all, the last few weeks, we've been having lots of conversations with the debut talent at Mission Pro Wrestling. So how are you feeling heading into this big debut in less than 2 weeks?
I'm so excited. Mission Pro was always on my list. It was always a goal. I know during the pandemic, I was stuck at home and all my friends were always at Mission Pro. So I'm very excited.
Amazing. You're getting lots of welcomes, lots of welcoming comments in the chat.
Number one thing you should know about Mission Pro is that don't worry about being new because people will immediately be on board. The Mission Pro fans get super excited about new talent. They will look you up. They will know who you are. Don't worry about that.
That's always the best.
That is true. You have to bring your merchandise. You have to bring all of your energy because Mission Pro fans will buy the merch and throw that energy back at you.
Yep.
So I wanted to kind of talk to you. So you're getting ready for Kickstart My Heart in just less than 2 weeks. And you're facing MJ Santana, and she has had lots of incredible matches at Mission Pro Wrestling. You know, she kind of understands how our company works, and she's had very tough opponents before. I think her match against Jasmine just posted yesterday, so from Silver Bells, so you guys can go check it out. So you could study some tape if you want.
I actually have already. I've been doing my research.
All right. What does your research come to find? What have you found?
That I've never really heard of her, so I looked her up, but she's really tough. I know she's up and coming as well. She's very young, and I just can't wait.
Okay. Is there any matches you've seen with MJ that you were a little nervous about? You're like, oh dang, I don't know, I got to learn a new move because you saw something that she's doing.
No, I watched all of them. I think she's great, but I'm excited and I think I'm ready. I'm ready to make some magic. I want to bring something special to Mission Pro. I want to make something that matters with her.
Very cool.
Veda, I mean, you've been in the ring with Ultra Violette.
I have. It was quite a few years ago.
Oh, quite a few years ago.
It was pre-COVID. But at the time I was like, this was, when you were first starting to do more and more with House of Glory. And so like, I'm familiar with you from that. And then like I said, I also got to wrestle you, and I was like, why, like this, we need more people to know about you, because you're so hardworking, so talented. And like you said, you were kind of like had to pull away from wrestling a little bit during the pandemic, but now it seems like you're really like back at it. You have a bunch of huge things happening for you right now, and I'm pumped. I'm super pumped.
Thank you. That means a lot.
Yeah. Now, have you been to Texas before? I have to
I've
ask.
never been to Texas before. I'm super excited.
Okay.
As the furthest I've got, I've done the whole East Coast. I wrestled in Chicago. I've never been on the West Coast, so this is my first time on the West Coast.
Okay.
All right. Well,
Excited.
Texas is known for lots of delicious foods, so we definitely have to make sure we get you some really good tacos.
Yeah, the other thing at Mission Pro is everyone likes to eat.
We do like
Gotta
to
know.
I'm a foodie. Love that.
Like Front Row said, there's so much to do and see. We just had tons of wrestling fans descend on San Antonio for Royal Rumble. So there's tons of people on the Riverwalk, which is like this beautiful shopping restaurant. There's the Alamo, of course, historical site, and there's so many things to do. So it's definitely a really fun place to be.
It's truly like the most fun, I think, when what we love to do, which is pro wrestling, also can kind of like be a little vacation, like a
it's a
little working
super work perk.
Yeah.
Super.
You get to see
Sometimes
cities.
it's work, and like sometimes the commute really sucks, and other times it's pretty great. So I'm excited for you. New state, new company, new opponent.
Yeah. I mean, John says, excited to see Ultra Violette and Mission Pro. See her live here in Northeast, and she brings it. So you have a fan watching.
John.
So I wanted to hear, and like, I want Mission Pro fans to understand kind of how you started in the wrestling industry, and how did that beginning of your journey start?
Like, do we start from like when I first got into wrestling, or should we start on how I got into wrestling training?
I mean, what was that light bulb moment? Like, what was that moment that made you decide to start, and how did you get started?
Okay, so when I was a little girl, I was raised by a single mom, and she wanted me to be a little princess. Like, I was only allowed to watch Disney Channel and PBS at most. Like, I wasn't allowed to watch Cartoon Network, nothing past rated G. And then one day I was in my room flipping through the channels, and it was Sunday, and we didn't have cable growing up. So there was nothing on. There was infomercials, there was golf, and I kept flipping, and then it got on, and it was Monday Night Raw, but it was on channel 47, which in New York is Telemundo, but they have like the Spanish reruns of it, so it's like voiced over by the Spanish team. And it just captivated me. I was like, what is this? And like, she of course didn't know I was watching it, but I was like immediately like, it was everything. Like I'm Spanish, so we grew up with like novelas, the soap operas, and it had that, and it had the action and the hits. I was just sucked in. And that was like the summer before high school, I think, or like middle school into high school. And then high school, I was like a closet fan. Like, all my friends were like girly girls. Like, no, I didn't want anyone to know that I liked wrestling. Like, I was like scared they were gonna like judge me or something. And then I was in computer class, and we were learning how to do PowerPoints. And the teacher said you have to pick a musician, an athlete, or a movie star to make your presentation on. And I picked John Cena. And so then a friend of mine who became my friend at the time, he came over to the printer. My computer was right next to the printer, and he goes, Cena sucks. And like, it started like this big friendship, and more or less like I inherited all his friends. And we become all like this giant group of wrestling friends. And fast forward into high school graduation, they're like, we're gonna join a wrestling school. You should do it with us. And I was just like, me, like, no, like I could never, I wouldn't. I was on the low, I was saving all my lunch money because my plan was to run away to like a school in Georgia, and they had like dorming. Like I was Googling like what to do. So I was saving all my lunch money. I was gonna leave. I was gonna do it like secretly. And they were like, no, we're gonna join a school in New York. You should come with us. And I was just like, me, I can't. I don't know. Like I was just insecure and scared. And they were like, no, you should do it. You love it, and we love it. Let's all do it together, and we can be like a stable. It'll be awesome. And so their plan was to go to NYWC and get trained by Mikey Whipwreck. And I was down for it. They had some women there. I was super excited. And then the week before we go to join, my friend's car broke down, and they're like, oh, well, it's too far away. We all lived in Queens, New York, and there was a school in Queens, House of Glory. And I was just like, House of Glory is like, they don't have any women. I don't know who they are. I don't know who the trainers are. I've never heard of them. They don't have any like connections. Like, I don't want to go there. And they're like, well, tough, like go on your own, or like you're screwed, or like do what you want, but that's where we're going. So I went with them, and the rest is history, I guess.
I mean, that's like such a journey, and I love how you kind of like fought back the haters a little bit, you know? You were like, I'm gonna love this no matter what.
Oh my God, yeah.
I mean, what did your mom think when you said, okay, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna go to a school?
So she didn't know. So I got my first job. I was a camp counselor as an assistant during the summer. And then they hired me full time during the year in a school to be a teacher's assistant. So I just made my own money on the side, and I used it to pay like my dues and tuition at House of Glory. But like she didn't know. And then at like 22, I moved out on my own. And I debuted at House of Glory, my wrestling school, and she sends me the link to like one of my match, and she's like, what is this? And I was just like, you can't stop me now, it's too late. But she's always scared that, you know, her baby's gonna get hurt. But then she's the first one like, oh my God, you're going where? Oh my God, can I get a shirt? Oh my God, like send me a picture. I want to show my friends. It's usually how it goes.
I mean, I feel like that's a running theme for wrestlers that they have to like go and have their first few matches, and then they tell their parents, or their parents find out in a really interesting way. It's so funny how that's a common theme we've heard.
Yeah.
No, mine were not supportive, but I wanted to do what I
wanted. But I mean,
to.
Obviously, even though maybe House of Glory, I wouldn't even say it wasn't your first choice. You didn't even really know it was an option. It seems like
no, I fought it.
It really seems to have worked out. I mean, like you've been with them for many years. You've been very, very successful. And also for anyone who's watching and is maybe not super familiar with House of Glory, which is as Violet said, up here in New York, they have like a ton of just production, constant with stories, and very TV style, but also it's independent wrestling. Like it's a nice mix of that. To me, House of Glory has always reminded me a lot of Reality of Wrestling down in Texas, in terms of like a lot of just like, there's a lot of very successful minds behind it. There's a lot of like, it's very professional, I would say. So I think that's like a really great experience.
Yeah. And they've had kind of some amazing people come out of that have gone to like huge promotions. So it is kind of like that filter system on the East Coast.
We've got a debate, but I got lucky. Yeah, I'm not sure if anyone can see the chat, but we do have a debate going here as to if Violet should be taken to Buc-ee's or the Alamo. It's raging in the chat right now.
It is raging.
I've seen both of them. I've seen so many wrestlers go to both of them.
So
I mean, which one's better?
My choice as someone who likes food is Buc-ee's. Because it's like, it doesn't make sense to call it they have everything and more.
Disneyland.
Everything.
Gas stations.
Yeah, like you can't really describe it. You have to experience it.
You do.
So as John pointed out in the chat, the Alamo has no basement or clean bathrooms, and Buc-ee's famously has the cleanest bathrooms.
Here's the deal. I think we can do both. I think we're going to take you to Buc-ee's. You're going to get your snacks, and we're going to go to the Riverwalk and the Alamo.
Ooh.
We'll do both. We'll make it happen. So there was one question up above here Oh, so Brian said, I saw one match of hers and said we need to see her at Mission Pro Wrestling. So that's a little backstory on how we saw you and we were watching some of your matches. And then this is a very important question that Brian asked. The most important question for new wrestlers is King Kong or Godzilla?
I love Godzilla. I'm on Team Godzilla. Like, I love Charizard. I love Godzilla. I have a type.
So like lizard type monsters, like yes.
Is that the right answer?
Yes, yeah. I think Brian will be happy.
That's the right answer, says front row.
The right answer. It is the first. Did you watch last week's On a Mission? Because I think you might have. So kind of getting back, pivoting a little bit more towards your wrestling journey. So you started at Hog and just kind of continued that journey, had some incredible matches. So how did you kind of find yourself in wrestling and this Ultra Violette brand?
I feel like a wrestler's always like finding themselves and like changing and adding things to it. But it was just a mix of like, I don't know, that's such a good question. It's just a mix of everything that I like. I love the technical wrestling where you work on a body part down and you tell a story through that. Then there's like the little glamour and like you get to play around with things. I don't know. Do you know?
Yeah, well, I think like again, as you start to like travel more and wrestle a lot of these opponents who like maybe and maybe like people that you've never been in the ring with, like for example at Mission Pro, like you pick up things as you go,
new things. Yeah, definitely.
You'll find kind of like what works, what doesn't, like what feels good, like
and different things work on different people, you know?
Exactly, yeah. And different crowd, I feel like you get different crowd reactions too.
Oh, that too.
Yeah. I mean, how was that first moment for you when you had a live audience? Because we had the pandemic and so that shifted things, but what was that moment when you had the first time the crowd cheered for you?
The first time that they cheered for me? It just felt so like surreal almost. Like I think I'm such a perfectionist and like an overthinker, and there's like a million things going through your head, and like you can think about so many different things, and when that finally pays off, it's such a good feeling.
For sure. I mean, it's a big moment to like have that crowd reaction, and you are going to be so excited for the Mission Pro crowd. I mean, Veda knows, like she's had to do commentary before over just like the loud.
Yeah. And like, even just like the fans right now who are in the chat are all super pumped. Like they were in here. There were people in the chat long before we were here to do the interview. Like people were waiting for this all day. They were pumped.
Yeah. It was like 20 minutes. Like I was getting notifications like 20 minutes, 30 minutes before, like, hey, we're in the chat. I'm like, okay, we'll be there soon.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so funny.
So like chat's not loading.
Well, like we said, you're going to Texas for the first time, but you have done some traveling. So what's your favorite place you've wrestled so far? What's the favorite place you've been?
I really like Florida.
Okay.
I really like Florida. It's always I wrestled there at Fest. The Fest crowd was like really crazy back in the day. They were really loud. It's always like an adventure. Like there's so many people down there. There's always like, it's like a family feel, you know? I've wrestled Massachusetts. It's super loud there. I feel like the Northeast is very like indie. Like, they're just all about it. Like I noticed, I went with a friend. She took me to a WWE show in Florida. And she pointed out, it was Sumi Sakai. And she pointed out, she's like, look at all the fans. They all have WWE shirts on. She's like, if you were to go to a WWE show in like where we live, like New York, New Jersey, Massachusetts, they would be wearing like indie shirts or like other brands, AEW shirts. Like the fans there are still so loud and crazy and great, but like I feel like where we are up here is like very strong indie base. So like I'm excited to see what Texas is about because I've never experienced it, but you guys are making it sound like a lot of fun.
Yeah,
Like
like
kind of how it
I
is up
think
here.
like it almost seems to me always that like down in the Orlando area, especially like NXT has been their indie. Like there's a lot of people who go out to Full
Yeah.
Sail the same way that like maybe we go to independent shows. So yeah, it's a cool mix.
Yeah, you'll definitely
Yeah.
see like everyone sporting their Mission Pro shirts, their hats, like all of their gear. And if you bring your merchandise, like they'll like it's merch mania, like they're gonna buy everything. And so it is definitely like we love to support independent.
They're supportive.
And
Yeah.
support, you know, because then we get to see all of our Mission Pro. I mean, what was incredible is we saw like former Mission Pro wrestlers in the Royal Rumble. Like we saw Roxanne, and like saw just so many people, and it like it starts here, right? Like the seed of what we're building starts here. So it's exciting. So I know there's a lot of conversation about making sure that you are supporting your local promotions.
Yeah, absolutely.
So speaking of travels, I saw that you went, is it true you went to Canada for a little trip? And I saw you did a vlog, like trying to go grocery shopping and finding the best snacks. And did you enjoy traveling to Canada?
I loved it. I was so scared before I went because I heard so many horror stories about like it sounded crazy. Like so basically if people don't know what it is, it's people live all the way on like these tiny little islands up in Canada, and like the roads, which are basically bodies of water, they freeze in the winter, and we can travel to them on the winter roads, and everything gets usually like helicopter dropped up there, so like the prices are like really crazy and people don't really go up there at all. So when you finally get up there, the people are like so excited and so happy to see you. So it was a lot of fun. I was just scared because like you don't have any cell reception. You don't know how long it is till you can reach out to your family and let them know you're alive. Like you're in a van with a group of like guys that you've never met before, but like isn't that wrestling? Like you just pick up and go with people and you meet people and it's awesome. But like it was super awesome. I had a great experience, a great time. Everyone took super good care of me. They were super sweet. The fans were amazing. You get a little like you miss like the hot water showers and food, but like you get used to it. It's a lot of fun.
So is that the only part of Canada that you've had the chance to spend time in so far?
Yes, I'm actually going back, I think in April, but it hasn't been announced yet.
Very cool.
But I think that would be more in like the city area as opposed to where I was just in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, Canada is like kind of along the border, and then like maybe like 200 kilometers north, there's a lot of people, and then just like open space.
Then you're in the woods,
open
in the
space.
mountains.
Yup.
I've been the only place in Canada I've been to is Montreal, and that's a very big city. It's beautiful. It's surrounded by lots of greenery, but it's definitely a big city in comparison.
Yeah,
that's probably like luxury compared to where we were wrestling.
Oh my goodness! So I mean, we've had crazy road trips at Mission Pro, and I mean, all of us have had wild trips trying to get to a show. Do you have a wild road trip story?
I guess it would be that one. I don't really have any crazy ones. I'm always like with someone I know. I think that one was the craziest one where I just didn't know anyone and we just picked up and we went, and the car would constantly break down. We were in the middle of like nowhere. They're like, if you go outside to pee, you have to pee on the side of the road. And if you went outside, like they're like, you have to be quick because the wolves will come get you and they'll eat you. So like you have to go out with a buddy and they like look out for the wolves, and the aurora borealis is above your head. And it was crazy. And we would just freeze to death. Like the car broke down a bunch of times and we're just shivering in our blankets. Like it was probably I don't think it's ever gonna get topped. Like that was my pay my dues road story.
That's a story. That is a story for
Wow.
sure. You're trying to avoid being eaten by wolves,
and
and freezing to death. Like, not a good combination.
Yeah.
So you talked a little bit, like, as you watched wrestling growing up. Who were your inspirations that helped kind of form who you are as a wrestler?
I think my favorite, and I feel like back in the day I'd be more shy about it because people would be like they'd pick like the old school like WWF guys, but I wasn't around back then. Like I've done my research, but the ones that really like captivated me, like when in the era that I grew up in, I think it was Evolution, and it was like it was always passed down. Like Ric Flair's, like you could see Ric Flair passing it down to Triple H. Triple H would pass it down to Randy, and like they would all do similar things, and like they all told the story so well, and like just little movements, little things they would do, you would see it, like, you know what I mean? It was like magical, and I think a lot of me is little bits and pieces taken from them. Even like I think my wrestling boots are like inspired by Triple H's first wrestling boots. Like just little things like that. But I would say they definitely influenced me the most. They were my favorites growing up.
Very cool.
Yeah, those are good choices.
Thank you.
So we all I like a good playlist, a good music playlist to get pumped up in the gym. Veda, I know you probably have an awesome playlist getting ready for commentary or doing your thing at the gym on a road trip. We all have it, right? What's your favorite songs you put on your playlist?
I think it varies. I feel like it depends on my mood because I have such a random mix of music where it can go from like K-pop to like it can go to like Spanish music, it can go to like my 2000s rock songs, to it can even be like the House of Glory vibe where it's just like hip hop and rap music. It just depends like what oomph you need that day.
Yeah, it's true. It depends on your mood, right? Like you need some to get you out of stuff.
Sometimes you go through phases where you're like obsessed with a certain thing and then you just never want to hear it again. And you're just like sick of it.
Tony brought up Metallica.
Yeah, the Day That Never Comes.
That's a good pump up song. Yeah, it's a good pump up band. So kind of along those lines, a lot of people, I am not one of them, but a lot of people have like a particular song or something like that they have to listen to before they wrestle. It gets them pumped up. Do you listen to music before you wrestle? Like does that help you, or is that not your thing?
It's not really my thing, but I think it definitely should be my thing because like I've been like on YouTube and my latest thing that I've been into is K-pop. And these girls are so like they bring it, and I'm like, that's what I need to do. Like that's like these girls are just so confident and like they drip like this oomph, and I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna remember this and I'm gonna be like that. And then when I'm in the moment, I'll be thinking of so many different things that I feel like if I watched it or if I listened to it right before, it would definitely like just put a little extra oomph in there.
All right, so should we tell MJ Santana that there's a chance you might be all fired up on K-pop before you wrestle her, and she better watch
that's
out?
What we have to do. Yeah.
We should filter K-pop music into her mind, slip it in, it won't stop, and then it messes up her mental game.
Oh my gosh.
I think that's her weapon. That's her weapon. So a lot of people a lot of people are like metal. They really are pumped.
I had like a gothic metal phase in high school, like OTEP, Opeth, Nightwish. Like I used to love like the girl singers. It was like metal but girl power.
Yeah.
So like a variety is what is on your playlist. Okay.
It's insane.
So Front Row is asking, who would you like to face in AEW or WWE, if you could?
Oh my gosh, there's so many. It's hard to pick. I guess in AEW, there's so many to pick from. I guess you would want to go for the top, right? I guess I'd pick like Jade Cargill. And then in WWE, I would love to wrestle Charlotte.
Ooh.
All right. Since we just finished, we just came out of Royal Rumble, right? Who would be like your top final four in a women's Royal Rumble? Obviously you and 4 others.
Oh, okay. I actually didn't get to catch up on this one because I was really busy the night of the Rumble, and I've just been busy since. I haven't watched it yet. But I guess I would pick Charlotte. Io Shirai. I love Io Shirai. I love Bianca. I don't know. Maybe we throw like
I think if we're looking at New York girls, Zelina Vega has to be in there.
Yeah, I guess that's a good pick.
Yeah.
That's true. That's a good pick.
We come from the same family.
The ending of this year's Women's Royal Rumble was particularly exciting. So
it was
definitely
really good. Yeah.
Oh,
I would go back and watch it when you have some time. There's some really good storytelling in there.
That was definitely my plan.
Tony is asking, what is your finishing move? And what would it take to call it the UV wave?
I have a few, actually. I have this inverted cutter. It's called UVB. And that's like, UVB, the radiation. I have a submission called the Violator, and it cranks your neck. And I've been using lately a stretch muffler brain buster, and it's called Compound V, which I got from the boys.
Okay, so that sounds very difficult to strategize for, because that is a variety.
The
of
next
moves.
one. I know. We said we got to have those different moves. For
Yeah,
different
seriously.
How did you help? Like, I know Veda, you're a commentator, and like you really have to analyze these big finisher moves and really you utilize them in different ways. And so, Ultra Violette, how did you kind of come up with yours and like your style? And the names are just so creative.
The first one I saw it in a martial arts movie, and this lady, she had someone by the neck, and all my moves are towards the neck. She had this guy by the neck, and she twisted and then rammed his head into a sink. And I was like, that would be a great wrestling move. I need to do that. And I taped it and I brought it to Amazing Red at training, and I was like, we need to make this a move. And we just kept doing it and doing it and doing it until like we found so you basically hold on like a cravat and then you spin under, and it's like a cutter. And then the other one, we were just messing around in the ring, and we were always watching Japanese wrestling, and we were watching Kinsuke, and he does like this. It's kind of like a stretch muffler, but he like cranks your neck with his leg. And we messed around with that, and we found the Violator. And then the last one, again, I think we got inspired from Japanese wrestling, and it kind of is similar to my submission, where like I have you and then the stretch muffler, and it cranks the neck. The brain buster.
You're so sweet about it, but that sounds absolutely brutal.
I know.
Deadly.
I'm laughing while saying these.
Oh my gosh.
It's a horrible murder.
I'm going to kill my opponent, but it's all good.
It's just so much fun when you get to like, I think that like any show business careers, like it's hard to like stay just so motivated and happy, but like I feel like in the ring when we're just working and like messing around and like playing, it just like I think that's like I like when I was little, like growing up, like I just wanted to be like a superstar. I didn't think I would ever fall in love with like the art of wrestling so much, and like that's why it just gets me really excited. Cute murder.
Yeah, I mean, I think people don't realize that it is an art. There's an art to the theatrics of it, to the spectacle,
Oh my
to
God, yeah.
the athleticism of it, the stories we're telling behind the screens, on screen, in the ring. It all works together, and it is an art. And I think the true fans get that. I think wrestlers get that too.
Yeah, I mean, like with you having Amazing Red to kind of help you put together the pieces of these ideas you have, like he's the most innovative.
Oh yeah, I always say he has like the gears, like I'll say like I said, oh my God, I see your gears are turning, and like you'll show him something, and you can see his brain piecing. He's like, what if? And you're like, yes. And then you bring something, and like together you just make like magic.
Very cool.
Yeah, I mean, when everything clicks and kind of works together, and all of it,
the dimension.
Yeah, it is that magical moment.
Yeah.
Tony says, enjoying this interview. Yay.
Hi, Tony.
Someone said, Tony also said that the least they can do to prepare for her finishing moves is wearing UV sunglasses.
I see he's already prepped.
I know, he's ready. That would be really funny if you like threw out sunglasses to the audience.
He's onto something.
That's good merch.
Hell yeah.
You get some good merch going. Oh my God, my cat's yelling. Yeah, Ezra saying absolutely Redden is an amazing trainer.
No pun intended.
So I know we talked about your dream kind of Royal Rumble match and AEW and WWE opponents, but you're coming to Mission Pro to face MJ Santana, and you're gonna do that. You're gonna succeed. How, and who else do you have your eye on at Mission Pro Wrestling or at other promotions? But let's start with Mission Pro because there is some gold floating around.
I would love to wrestle Jasmine. I know she's like the face, not the face of the company, but I know she's very like she's one of the faces you think of when you hear Mission Pro, I would say.
She's probably one of the OGs, She's one of the original roster members that have, helped build the brand.
Yeah.
Like that.
I know Kylan King has wrestled there. I'd love to face her. There's so many.
Well, and there's just constantly new people. Like last week, we talked to Vicky Dreamboat, who is also going to be debuting at this show. So as you're, in the locker room, you might come up with a whole list of people that you want to face.
Exactly. I mean, we have Claudia and Queen Shiva that's going to debut. We have so many debuts, and you might find some regulars that you're like, hey, I think you might find a new home.
Yeah, it's just so crazy. Like when I was wrestling before the pandemic, like when I was wrestling Veda, and like from that time to now, when I've come back, like it's a whole different roster of women. There's so many women and like so many talented women that like I've never even met before. There's I'm sure I'll have a list by the end of the show.
Yeah.
Definitely. Well, we'll definitely get you some Buc-ee's. We'll take you on a San Antonio excursion. Well, you'll enjoy San Antonio for sure. People are bringing up Kylan King, Tiffany Nieves.
I've seen Tiffany Nieves matches.
Yeah,
what do you think on the list too? I like her. She definitely brings the fire.
She is. She does bring a little fire, a little fierceness, and yeah, she's coming back to Mission Pro, and we'll see. She has this. She has this like electricity in the ring, and kind of brings this attitude that I don't know if some of our Mission Pro regulars are ready for.
Gotta put that K-pop on.
Oh my God, it reminds me of Zoolander. Do you remember? Did you guys ever see Zoolander?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so it reminds me of I feel like that song. We're gonna just play a song from K-pop, and it's gonna
It like turns a switch.
Turns a switch on, and you're gonna be like, I can't wrestle.
Activated.
And you're like, that's how I take my opponents down. Ezra says women's wrestling is thriving more so than ever, and that's because of companies like Mission Pro. You'll feel right at home for sure. I mean, that's an amazing. Thank you, Ezra, for that comment. That means a lot to us. I mean, Ultra Violette, how has your experience been as a woman in the industry? You've grown into this, and you've seen it kind of evolve over the years.
I definitely think I've been really lucky. I really think I've been really lucky. Like, I've heard, I know that I didn't hear, like, I've witnessed things. My friends, we went through the Me Too movement. I've been really lucky that, like, I've always been surrounded by good people, but like even wrestling itself, like it's changed so much, like from the Divas era to the Superstar era to like, I feel like now, like we talked about, it's just, there's so many different dimensions to it, like athleticism, the shows, the you know what I mean? Like the entertainment, like, I think it's evolved so much. I'm sure it'll keep growing. I think there's still things that can be changed. I know it's still changing. Like there's now women matches at PWG. Like things are still changing and growing, but I definitely think like I was at the the right place at the right time.
Yeah.
Well, like even if you just look at a place like Mission Pro, like yes, as Emily's been saying, there's Mission Pro regulars. You know, there's sort of a core roster, and they're there pretty frequently. But also, there's constantly new people at Mission Pro. Like there's just an endless amount of women out there wrestling right now, and I think that even 5 years ago, that wouldn't have been possible to have just constantly just new faces, new opportunities, and like it's a new experience every time. And that to me is amazing.
And there's like, you would think like now that there's two major companies in the United States, like there would be less talent, but there's so much talent.
Yeah, I mean, it's incredible. And I love how like we can have some of our favorites, our Mission Pro favorites, but like Veda said, we are bringing in so much talent from all over the country, even internationally, because we want to see the best of the best and we want to help them grow and find themselves. And I think with a company with this many women surrounding you and even on commentary and all over, it just helps build such an amazing support system that you can, see each other at different shows. And you're like, once you're in it, you're in it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ryan said three are with Impact.
Oh, three, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And again, that's just really like if you're looking at, in the United States, like in terms of, Joshi Pro Wrestling, there's huge leaps and bounds in terms of like the growth in recent years. It's just, there's just so much out there, so many opportunities.
Yeah. Michael May. Yeah. MPW always brings in great talent. Well, I know that Ultra Violette, we are going to see your talent on February 11th, and we can't wait. The Mission Pro fans can't wait. I appreciate you taking the time to chat with us.
Yes.
Thank you so much for having me and inviting me.
Yes, and now you're going to have to go pick out your playlist for MJ Santana.
I'm going to go do that right now.
Yeah, go do that right now. Get it ready. All right, Ultra Violette, thank you so much. I hope you have a great evening.
Thank you, guys.
Good luck.
Thank you.
All right, everyone. That was our special guest, Ultra Violette. I think she is ready to face MJ Santana, Veda. I don't know how you feel, but I think she's ready.
I think so too. It seems like she's really like puts in the time, does the tape study. We talked about House of Glory, trainers like Amazing Red. Like, how could you not take wrestling and the art of wrestling seriously? And like I said, I feel like Ultra Violette is someone who is about to just really break out, and I think that this debut with Mission Pro is going to set a lot of wheels in motion, and I think a lot of people are going to find a new favorite.
I think so too. It's going to be really exciting. So if you all have not gotten your tickets, go to missionprowrestling.com. Get those tickets for Kickstart My Heart, our big Valentine's Day show. Show lots of love to all of those wrestlers. Buy that merchandise. And we have VIP second row tickets available. And those are like the best seats. and you can watch it on Title Match Network. Thank you all for joining us in the chat. You all had great questions. Follow Ultra Violette on all of her social media. I believe she's just on Instagram, so go follow her there. And Veda, where can people follow you?
Yes, please check me out on Twitter at It's Veda Time. I think you can see that on my little lower third also. Like I always say, I have a lot of different platforms. I have my YouTube channel, I have my Patreon, I have other photo sites, but everything kind of filters through the Twitter first. That's a good place to check it out. Also my Instagram, which is V for Veda. That's another place where I sort of, between Twitter and Instagram, everything kind of goes there first. You can find out everything else from there. And yeah, that includes my schedule, all of that.
Amazing. And you have a very busy schedule coming up. Do you want to plug any of that, or?
Yeah, I'm actually really fortunate. In the next few weeks, I have a lot of travel and a lot of wrestling. Thursday night, I have Pro Wrestling Revolver, which airs on Fight and Fight Plus. Yes, Thursday night, the show is called Night at the Moxbury because we have John Moxley there. That's with Wrestling Revolver. I do the commentary there. Then Garden State Pro Wrestling on Friday. I am not sure what the plan for broadcast is for that one. We kind of sometimes do YouTube, sometimes it's always streaming or on YouTube after. And I'm actually wrestling there. It's Bird Law, which is me and my husband Mike Bailey versus Masha Slamovich and Akira. So if I survive that one, I will be in Sacramento on Saturday to do commentary for West Coast Pro Wrestling. That's on independent IWTV. And then on Sunday, I am going to be at Hood Slam in San Francisco, doing commentary there. And this one is going to be on Fight. They also oftentimes air on Twitch. So I'm pretty pumped.
Oh my goodness. I am tired just hearing that list of places that
okay, so my husband is now in the chat, feeling like Bailey, letting me know, Veda, I don't know if we'll survive the next 2 weeks. Because after this weekend, we have like one day off, which is Tuesday, and then we have a lot of other stuff.
You guys got it. I believe in you both. You will get through it. And yeah, everyone is so excited to see him in the chat. As a reminder, we have our special Mission Pro Wrestling Unmatched on Thursday nights at 9 p.m. And this is gonna be our third part episode of Hell Hath No Fury, the show. We're gonna be breaking down 2 more matches from that show. It has been so much fun, and it is gonna be the main event, Thunder Rosa versus Lindsay Snow. You definitely don't want to miss that. And we might have special guests. So you are definitely going to want to tune in on Thursday at 9 p.m. We also have so much content that just was put on Mission Pro Wrestling's YouTube. Go check out a statement from Men's Revolution, JP, Joey Hyder, Boss Baines, who is in the main event for Kickstart My Heart. They had a special meeting, and they wanted us to make sure that the Mission Pro fans knew how they were preparing for February 11th. So make sure you go check that out.
I assume if you're watching this right now, you're already subscribed to the Mission Pro YouTube, but double check, look down there. If that subscribe button is not hit, you hit it right now. It's free. You'll get all the new content. You got to do it.
Do it.
Don't want to miss it. Don't want to miss it.
And hit the bell, hit the notification bell so that you know when we go live, when Emily and Veda have their little show.
Yes. I love our little show.
I know. It's so much fun. All right. I know you have to get some sleep and get on the road. Thank you all so much for watching On a Mission. Remember, follow Mission Pro Wrestling. Follow me here, Emily May Heller. And until next week with another special guest, enjoy your week. Good night, everyone.
Bye.